Hello, everyone. Welcome to Job Corps. It's Petty Officer Romero. Now we're going to do another in a series of lessons about the equipment that you use as a security officer, police officer, and even the military. We talked a bit about all the general equipment, your belt, the things that you would really need, and in some cases maybe don't need, depending on what type of job you have. Again, there's a million different types of security positions, so chances are you're not going to be needing handcuffs and things like that. And I do find it a bit silly when you have a job that basically observe at a let's say hospital or an office building after hours, and people have all these different things. Now, I do completely agree that you need things to defend yourself. So I'm going to really focus on your pepper spray and tasers. These are non-lethal items, although there's been arguments made the other way, but the bottom line is they're non-lethal. There are many things in life that are non-lethal that could kill you. Taking a bath could kill you. It's not really a lethal thing, but if you can drown in an inch of water, then I guess you can call it lethal. But when you're looking for ways to de-escalate an extremely volatile situation without shooting someone with a gun and potentially killing them, a taser is a fantastic alternative, although there is a small risk that, like everything has some dangers in it when you do those kind of things. So people have died from tasers. Having said that, I'm sure, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, a lot more have died from being shot. So if I was on the receiving end and they said, well, you're acting up to a degree where we feel threatened and we need to escalate the use of force, I'd much rather them tase me than shoot me. So, take it for what it's worth. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a video here of tasers. Matter of fact, hang on a second here. Let's start off with how they work.
The taser is a non-lethal electronic weapon used by police all over the world. When discharged, a firing pin bursts a canister of compressed gas. The expanding gas shoots out two barbed projectiles connected to the device by copper wires, delivering an electrical charge to the target. A rechargeable battery delivers 50,000 volts to the target, enough to disrupt electromuscular control. Aim is provided by way of a laser sight. The weapon is effective up to a range of 6.4 meters. When fired, the upper barb hits the aiming point and the other slightly lower. The 5-second charge is enough to incapacitate nearly any aggressor.
There you go. That's some basic stuff about the taser, just so you understand how it basically works. But I'm also tell you something else. It don't always work. I've seen some, and mostly seem to be really big people, and it's funny how that works, where the really big guy, the hardest to control, the hardest to arrest, the hardest to subdue, and even when it comes to taser, I've seen guys just walk right through it. So you want to be careful. Well, I say be careful. Just be aware that it doesn't always just work as simple as that. All right, so let's look at this next video.
Hello, my name is Inspector Richard Corkwell and I'm in charge of taser training in West Yorkshire Police. Here we are at our state-of-the-art training facility, Cargate, Wakefield. There is a lot of misinformation and myth in relation to taser, and I want to speak to you about the facts and how we use this excellent piece of equipment in West Yorkshire. Rachel, who's with me at the moment, is a taser officer. Rachel, if you could draw the taser, please, and let's have a look. Okay, very, very simply, a taser is an electrical device. It's used by the police to resolve very dangerous situations where there is a serious risk of violence that is posed. It's important to remember that taser is used only in dangerous, serious situations where there is a serious risk of violence. A person that may have a knife, that has hurt someone or is threatening to hurt someone, and taser is used to resolve this as safely and as quickly as possible for the benefit of everybody. Taser is quite simply a very effective tool for the police service in the UK. Taser was first introduced in 2004. Prior to that day, other options such as police dogs, police batons or conventional firearms could be considered. This is a far safer, less lethal option for the police, and quite simply, Taser saves lives. The public need to know that there are a number of options available to our Taser officers when they turn up at this very dangerous situation. We will always aim to get the person, for example with a knife, to comply with instructions and put that down. But the various stages include drawing the Taser, aiming the Taser,
Taser officer, get back.
and using a red dot laser on the
Taser
Taser.
officer, look at your chest. Look at the red dot on your chest.
So the laser points at the subject and they realise that this could be used upon them. Again, we must emphasise 75% of Taser use is by not firing it. If this dangerous incident is not being resolved, then the Taser can be fired towards the torso and two barbs on the end of wires make contact with the person, and the electric current causes momentary muscle spasm, which means the person either freezes on the spot or falls to the floor. This then allows the police officers to safely arrest the suspect. To provide some context on how often we use Taser in West Yorkshire Police can deal with up to 1,000 emergency calls per day, and we fire Taser on average between once and twice a week. Every use of Taser is rigorously examined by a senior police officer to ensure that it was lawful, justified and proportionate. I hope that this input has given you an insight into how Taser saves lives in West Yorkshire.
All right. I did find it kind of ironic or interesting that when I'm looking up these videos trying to find something that's interesting, good training, it was mostly like British, European, and I was like, that's strange how everybody has that. And then I realized, you know, in most European countries, they don't even allow the police to have guns. So at some point, literally, they walk around with batons. And, you know, the funny thing about countries that don't have gun laws or the restrictive gun laws, meaning, or some countries, believe it or not, don't even allow the citizens to own guns. The people, it's not the regular, good, honest, law-abiding citizens you have to worry about. It's the criminals, and by definition, a criminal doesn't follow the rules. So you have police officers walking around on the streets with batons and criminals with guns. So I wouldn't ever be a police officer in those countries, or any country that would say, hey, I want you to go out there and respond to, like, literally be directed. If you're a citizen, you stay away from trouble. As a police officer, you're always sent to the trouble, and they get sent to the trouble where I'm the guy where I have to defuse and arrest people, and when I have no weapon and they have a weapon. So as a country, a lot of these countries started going to tasers so that they would have something to incapacitate the criminals without shooting them. So I'm a fan of it. I'm a proponent of it. In many instances, it's good. There is some negative that when you're dealing with a really dangerous person, that sometimes it doesn't work, and that time that you're using to try to shoot them with a taser or whatnot just ends up giving you less time to defend yourself. So it's something you do have to be aware of. I mean, it's not as easy pulling out and everybody drops. And another thought I didn't add into Europe, because the population isn't allowed to have guns, there's a ton of knife violence. So you can definitely see that a taser would be a guy pulls out a knife, you know, because they just don't have access to guns. People still get killed all the time in these countries. It's just they get killed by knife wounds instead of gun wounds, right? So interesting perspective just from looking for these videos. All right, so let's look at this academy training. that I found, and there's a ton of them. Every department has some training, and they take someone and they do some professional videoing. So I had a ton to choose from, but I don't know. I picked this one.
Lay him down.
Put me down! You're good. Come on, breathe again. You're good.
The most popular word used during this training. 4-letter word you shouldn't use.
Oh my God.
JJ, what was that? LBJJ! Ah! Put it down! Ah! 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 Hit me, baby, one more time. Yeah!
I like it. He talks mess, but you didn't hear no screaming. Look at that. Hey, now that's impressive. Man, they should kick him out immediately. Immediately be removed from anything that needs. Can you imagine how all these guys are feeling knowing they're in line to get that done to them? All right. I have personally never been tased. Just something about that electrical shock makes you feel like it's something that you wouldn't want to have happen. But you can see there that next time you hear on the news or whatever that they have guys who've done absolutely nothing wrong who are getting shot with a taser, and you can see it's. So I've never been shot by a taser, but I've been shocked by, and I know some of you guys probably never heard of this electric fence that they use to keep cattle 100 times. All right. And it's like, there's something about it that is just extremely uncomfortable. And the thing is regardless of comfortable pain, it incapacitates you. You can't really, like, you can't move. You just, everything tightens up, so you're gonna fall. It's gonna incapacitate you, which is the point. I kind of get with the news and the reports and how, you know, they turn it into something that's, oh, I can't believe you did that. At the end of the day, I mean, you just watched 20 guys get tased and some females get tased. It's not the end of the world. It's uncomfortable. So I don't know. The thing that I would like probably the least about it is there is 2 barbs. They're talking about the 2 projectiles. They don't mention that they're barbs. So they get stuck in your skin. So when they pull them out, you have to, you know, it leaves bruises or what have you, and it's gonna, you know. So, but the only way it works is if that sticks, and with current, if you understand anything about electricity, you need both, right? So you need your current and your ground to make it effective. So to complete the circuit. All right, so there you go. That's about I think all you need to know really about a taser at this point. But let's move on to pepper spray. All right, so now we're going to start talking about pepper spray. So I mentioned that I've never been tased before, although I have been shocked by something similar, a similar amount of I don't know if it's voltage or current. I should know this because I have a degree in electronics. But it's so long ago I can't remember half the stuff I learned. It was in the military. But I have been pepper sprayed. It's part of training in the military and boot camp. You go in, they will expose you to pepper spray, and it's pretty awful. You know, it's I mean, it's pretty awful. I don't want to exaggerate it or come across like it's unbelievably horrible and be drama, but it's not fun, and I wouldn't want to do it again. But you know, in 30 minutes or so, it's over. So I'm going to start. One, you probably hear mace all the time. That's, you know, pepper spray, mace, OC. It's different names and different chemicals that do different things, but for the most part, it's similar. So let's start with.
So you're probably wondering, is there really a difference between pepper spray and mace? A couple differences, actually. For one thing, mace is actually, just like taser, a brand name. It doesn't refer to an actual product. Mace International, Taser International. Stun gun versus pepper spray, not exactly the same thing. For pepper spray in particular, it's an inflammatory agent, which means that when it hits the skin, it swells up the mucous membranes. There are a variety of effects that occur when this happens. For one, your breathing is completely restricted. It feels like you can't breathe at all. It restricts your breathing up to life support breathing. Makes you cough, choke. It slams your eyes shut because it dilates the pupils. And this can last up to 15 minutes or so. It gives you temporary blindness. The effects of OC, or oleoresin capsicum spray, pepper spray, typically last between 30 to 45 minutes. The thing is with mace, which is commonly known as tear gas, or CS, which is a man-made chemical. It's what the military uses to train their members. Thing is with this, the problem is that it's an irritant, which means it relies on pain primarily. The effects typically take between 5 to 30 seconds to kick in, and basically the biggest problem is that if you're dealing with an assailant, 5 to 30 seconds is a really long time to wait. Not only that, because of the fact that it's an irritant, you can actually build up a resistance to it, which makes it very ineffective towards people who are, you know, on drugs, intoxicated, under the influence, that sort of thing. We primarily, we highly recommend going pure OC versus, you know, a OC / tear gas or CS spray. It's just a lot more effective. It's immediate, it kicks in, and it's really, you know, really effective. It's I don't know what the percentage rate is on it or anything, but it's a lot more effective than what you'll get in mace. But those are the two primary differences. It's you know, mace is like a euphemism for pepper spray for the most part. So, you know, like Kleenex is for tissues and Jello for gelatin, that sort of thing. But those are pretty much the differences. Thanks for...
All right. So there you go. He kind of explains the difference between the two. What I'm going to do, just like the training for the stun gun, I am going to show you this little short video during pepper spray training. And again, they do this in the military, and they may do it. As a matter of fact, I think they do it in the police academy. So.
Close your eyes. OC.
Direct shots of pepper spray to the face,
All right, let's go.
followed by running between stations. And basic martial arts techniques.
Get him!
Romanian soldiers and U.S. Marines volunteered to do all this during a non-lethal weapons training exercise in Bulgaria this week.
The feeling of OC spray can be accurately described as somebody kicking sand in your eyes and the inability to counteract that pain immediately.
They learned how the chemical can control rioters without causing permanent damage. Seeing the value of the lesson, I decided to give it a go.
Coming. Three!
I found that temporary blindness made it difficult to run
Get up!
or to perform simple takedowns.
Get him down! Perfect! All right, go ahead. Put your arm behind your back, please.
I started to ask myself, why on earth do we do this?
To be on the receiving end of the non-lethal weapons allows them to work through the pain. Therefore, if a real-life situation arose where they are accidentally exposed, they'll know what's going on and, for the most part, be able to fight through any type of effects.
How come I can't breathe? Is that part of it? That's normal. Okay, good. For Marine Forces, Europe and Africa, I'm Sergeant Russell Midori. Yeah. Okay, please.
All right, there you go. What I found interesting is when they pointed out that one of the things that makes a police officer or a fighter in general is if you've been punched once or twice and it hurts, or like even a football player, when it happens, you don't panic. So what they're doing is they spraying you with this stuff in the event, like you in a hostile situation, there's stuff flying all over the place. You can get some in your eyes. And if you're in the middle of a battle, and I'm meaning that you're trying to take down some bad guys, you need to keep playing. You can't just stop and say, oh, wait, hold on. You got to keep fighting through it. And two, that they didn't mention in this video is I think it's important that if you're going to, well, obviously you wouldn't apply the same logic to shooting somebody, but if you're going to tase somebody or use spray, pepper spray, OC spray, that it's good to know what effect it has, because for several different reasons. One, if you're going to use it on somebody, you should understand what you're doing to them, okay? And two, you can understand how effective it might or might not be. So if you go into this thinking that you're going to spray these people and they're just going to lay on the ground and put their hands behind their back and let you cuff them and the problem's over, you may understand that while it was awful, it didn't necessarily end the fight. So it's good to know and understand exactly what you're getting into. Okay, one more short video here, and let's see what they're doing here at the police academy with pepper spray.
Count down to 3, look up, open your eyes.
1, 2, 3.
Good job, Rick.
God.
Good job, Rick. Got it, Rick.
Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Open your eyes, Hyman.
There's obviously an aspect of an officer's survival where they get pepper sprayed and they have to continue to fight and not give up. But more importantly, we're looking at that mental toughness.
Let's go. Come on, Erickson. Count it out. Count it out. Hands. Good job, Gavin. Show him up, Gavin. Keep going. Keep going. Keller. Stop, Lee.
What's RCW definition of necessary?
Sir, necessary means that no reasonable, effective alternative to the use of force appear to exist. And that the force used was reasonable to effect the lawful purpose intended.
That's close, but that's not verbatim, Erickson.
Yes, sir.
You better calm your breathing down, think, and give me the RCW definition of necessary verbatim. What is 98?
Sir, 98. It is the RCW
Calm
4
down.
uses of force.
Excuse me?
Justified. 4 uses of force for peace officers, sir.
Stand up straight. Get your bearing. Calm down. Compose yourself, Hyman. Slow your breathing. You're breathing calm. Slow down. Got 2 more.
Let's do some push-ups, sir.
No. Go for the answer, Hyman.
Sir, necessary means no reasonably effective alternative to the use of force appeared to exist. And that the force used,
And that the amount of force used.
the amount of force used was reasonable to effect the lawful purpose intended, sir.
All right, one more time until you get it right.
Please!
Go, Derek. Fight, Derek. Yeah! Please, get some! Please! Step up and put your cop shoes on, Derek! Yeah! Stop, police! Stop, police! Stop, police! Stop, police! Stop, police!
Not back where you found it.
Man?
That's not where you found it. Before you knocked it down. There it goes.
There it goes.
Good.
Turn around! Yeah, please, Carmen. Put your hands out to the side.
Another very big aspect of the pepper spray class of practical exercise is that they understand empathy. They're going to be using these tools on the citizens if it becomes reasonable and necessary. So they need to understand that the pain that these subjects are going through so that they can provide aid and understand that it does hurt a lot and they can have empathy for their fellow citizens. So I think that's a very important piece of this as well.
Good, Erickson. There's a license on the dash. I want you to run that name.
First of Mike Adam Lincoln Union, Mike Adam Lincoln, Ocean Frank, Lima Ida Lincoln,
Lima, I don't know that one.
Lincoln Ida Lincoln, Adam.
All right. What I liked, well, I say I liked, actually what I pointed out before this video started is they talked about compassion for your fellow citizens, you know, understanding what you're doing to them by having it done to you. So there you go. I think that's some interesting and good information for equipment when it comes to especially protecting yourself with a stun gun and with OC gas. All right. Our next video in this sequence, we'll get into the stuff that you'll probably never even use as a police officer. But I saw some stuff about vehicles and weaponry and stuff. But this, to me, probably the most important things that you'll actually use or potentially use in the field.